Hi, I'm Kelly at Book and Paper Arts, and today I have a flip through of my latest illustrated journal from my trip to France last month. It's going to be a little bit of armchair travel, but I'm also going to talk about the elements and techniques that I've used throughout. So I hope it will give you some ideas for your own visual diaries. If you like journal arts, altered books, vintage books, paper, and other ephemera, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notifications with a little bell thingy. Let's go. This is a cheap, no-name sketchbook. I actually like really good sketchbooks with really good paper. But if you've seen my videos, you know that I am always telling you to use what you got. And I didn't have time to get a really nice sketchbook on my way out the door. This one was kicking around the studio. I just grabbed it and took it, and it did the job just fine. Use what you've got. This is a poem that my husband, Gabriel, wrote me for this trip. I think Gab's getting a little bit of his own fan club, as well he should. He writes really good poetry. Is Dawn's poetic flea found in any such market? No, no more than a bad Chablis, so labeled to earmark it. It is talking about me going to churches and flea markets done in the style of John Donne. He's very clever. This is my boarding pass and some notes about how bumpy the flight was. And I don't mean the flight. I mean just getting out. They hate us. Airlines, I mean. Okay. You can wait until you have the most perfect scenery to draw. And if you do, you're not going to have very many pages. It's super important that you draw what's in front of you, the ordinary. So this is a pichet of wine, and these are some mustard and other condiment packets, but they're French condiment packets, so they're sexy. These are the keys to the apartment I was renting. And since when I'm working in a sketchbook at a table, cafe table, I'm always going to have my art supplies out. So I draw a lot of them because that's what I'm looking at a lot of the time. These are some dried flowers. It's a little bit of lily of the valley, and I'm going to talk about that in another page in a mo. I just dried them, squashed them, and then this is some washi tape that I bought from a lady with craft supplies at a flea market in France. So I got two memories right there in that one little section. French strawberries in season are like another food. They taste like they're sublime. So I love to go to the markets, do my own shopping and my own cooking. It's really good fun. I'm not great at drawing buildings, but I draw them anyway. So just embrace your imperfections, make it loose and fun. It still gets the job done. I can still remember where I was sitting when I was looking at this. This is the city hall, the mairie of Tours. Tours was the nearest big city to where I was staying. I was staying in Amboise. And it was too big for me. There were too many tourists. And I am a tourist. I was a tourist in Tours, which does not mean tour, it means towers. But it did have a beautiful, beautiful city hall. So I enjoyed just sitting and people watching and doing that. In the park in Amboise is a fountain designed by the artist Max Ernst. And I think this is a frog, an avant-garde frog. But again, I didn't worry about whether this was perfect in perspective or ratio or anything like that. I have a whole video showing how I was embracing this childlike imperfect style. So if you're curious about that, if you need a little bit of a pep talk about your own drawing skills or lack of same, check out the link underneath this text and you'll find that video. I tend to draw a lot of static things because if I'm in a French cafe and my French food comes, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to be sitting there drawing it while it gets cold. So I tend to draw a lot of carafes and bread baskets. The little prints you see a lot in French stuff in shops. And as I write here, even though he's become very over commercialized, his spirit is so sweet that his message is still very powerful. This was in a free brochure in a bookstore. Floor slab rubbing from Vendôme, and that is from 1546. This is from another free brochure that I got at the Tourist Information Office. Free brochures, maps, they just make great art supplies. Somebody's already done the hard work for you. You just have to put it down with a glue stick and then do a little collage, and you've got a page. And this was a bottle of cider. This was also in the town of Vendôme, where I did that floor rubbing. And I had a galette that day. A galette is a kind of a whole wheat crepe. And mine was stuffed with mushrooms with a truffle and Calvados sauce. And Calvados is an apple brandy. And it was so good. And I just wrote this whole page about that, just about that filling. Because I got to tell you, that's not the sort of thing I'm ever going to get in Swansea, where I live. Let's see. I am postcard mad. You might not think so. Might seem, again, very touristy, but postcards are great. You get a memory. They're very affordable. You get a memory of what you were visiting. And then you have this wonderful reference point. If you want to finish pages, if you're doing drawings, you can then use this to finish your pages later when you're having a cup of tea or sitting, waiting somewhere. So, and I made this little pocket from the sack the postcards came in. Ah, there's the flowers again. This is Muguet, and May the 1st is the Fete De Miguel in France. In 1560, the king was given a little bouquet of these flowers, these lilies of the valley, and it was given to him for good luck. He was so pleased by the gesture that he gave little nosegays to every lady in the court, and it became a tradition. And hundreds of years later, on May the 1st, you can find these little charming nosegays everywhere. And I bought a few for a centerpiece. This was on my birthday. I had a bottle of bubbly from a local cove. Here is another pocket. I made this from one of my tax bills. And it has the cellophane window, so it makes a great pocket, but you can then also see a little bit of what's inside. This is a page. I also have a full video showing about how I made this and other pages just with found papers. Again, no drawing or sketching required. This was from a bag of pastries, and it was already in the shape of a teacup or coffee cup. So I just cut around that and then wrote a little bit about some of my adventures in coffee drinking, as one does. This was also made just with found papers. These are also mainly from food came in these or bread. The paper is very thin, almost like a tissue paper. So when you glue it down, it goes down translucent, and you can see whatever is under it, adding layer and interest to your page. Another page from my birthday. I think this is the last birthday I'm going to have. I've come far along enough in my life to know that it's not so much a celebration of how many years I've been here as reminding me how few I've got left. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a mindful thing. But this was a very, very good day indeed with pizza, and I bought myself some high-heeled, high-top tennis shoes. Does anything say a sign of the times like a negative COVID test? This is a sketch of the tympanum of the church in Loches. The tympanum is the part that goes over the door right here. This is what it really looks like, and it is beautiful but insanely fiddly. And I don't draw that well. So I just put down these lines, the wash, some basic lines, and some free-flowing, very fluid squiggles. And it still reminds me of where I was and what I was doing. It does the job. This is from another free brochure. So I just cut that out so that I would have the actual details of the bestiary in the tympanum. And then I pulled the lines down. And these are details of a couple of the fantastic beasts. This is a page made with found papers. A lot of memory crammed into a lot of layout. Sugar packets, business cards, and this is from Smart Supplies. More found papers. At this point, I gave up being too clever and just wanted to get them down so that I could add my notes. And that is okay. That happens. I love to add maps when I'm staying somewhere new. Or sometimes I just draw maps of where I am. Now, just to write about my experiences that I'm having in my day-to-day. But this is a map of where I was staying in Amboise. Right here. I was there for almost a month, so this was actually my stomping ground. This was the Loire River. The chateau was here. These are different cafes and churches. So that's going to stay with me for a long time, reminding me of where we were and what we did. I bought some pastels at the art supply store called Sennelier in Paris. And this is me trying out the palette. Here's another pocket. It's an envelope that I got in a church. And I like this pocket because there are some things that I don't want to glue down, like these ticket stubs, for instance. The outside is really pretty. I wouldn't want to glue that down. And then it's got the date and the location. So I definitely don't want to glue that down. If you have a little pocket, you can just take them out and admire them and then put them back. It's interactive. And that's another view of the fountain that I showed earlier. And again, I just went ahead and full on embraced the childlike quality and had fun with it. Very simple. Here I was experimenting by painting on old text from a book. And to that I added this border came from a sketchbook that was given to me from Sennelier as a gift. And it had this really pretty border wrapping around it. So part travel journal, part art journal page. And that's the end of my trip. But I had some more pages left, so let's see. Someone gave me a card and flowers. I dried a few of the petals and then just glued them down gently. Hey, it's my son. And if he sees this, he's going to be embarrassed. Ha, too late. And always at the back of one of my visual diaries, I have some places where I've taken written notes and visual notes, uh, sometimes just to get warmed up and started. For instance, I tried to draw this saint in a church I was visiting, and I just didn't think I could do her justice, so I did not make a page of it. But even this page of my bad warm-up sketch is a memory. My online course is on sale. If you've ever been curious about keeping your own travel sketchbook or making an illustrated diary of the journey that is your everyday, day-to-day life, I have an online class that will teach you how to make and keep a visual diary. It's on sale. It's 25% off until August 1st. 25% off, people. If you're curious, there's a link in the text below this video that will take you to more information. Please join me Sunday for another video. And until then, get up and go make something.